It's like good stuff here.
So, Graham, you're sort of headed into the home stretch here. You happy with how the offense has developed?
It's been a great spring for us. I think offensively, kind of like I talked about last week. I think installation-wise, we're probably further along than you'd expect. And then, the cool thing right now is we're able to get like situational, a lot of good situations, and that's great experience for our guys. You know what I mean? The more you can do that, the better. And I think, like I said, a lot of that has to do with the fact that they've really picked up what we're trying to do. They understand what we're trying to do. They're executing at a pretty high level. And when that's the case, now you can get a little more into situational, and whatever that may be. Walt's done a great job so far of like mixing up the situation every day and creating learning experiences for us all. So, I think like I said, we're getting a lot of good work right now.
Abdur's a guy that's I think originally committed to Northwestern, ended up coming to Purdue, tore his ACL. He's had a rough go of it here. How have you seen him kind of progress and maybe a little bit healthier than he's been throughout his career to maybe get some opportunities?
Yeah, I think like you said, he's a talented player, and I think that the thing that this spring, what I say about Abdur is he's just been super, super consistent, and I think that's almost in what we're doing and probably in what anyone's doing. Like, consistency is huge, and just being able to show up and be the same guy every day, do what you're asked to do. Early on in spring, we challenged Abdur because the way we do things and just the way we're practicing is probably different than in the past. And so after our first practice, kind of challenged him in the meeting room, and he's responded, and he's been great. And so that's been really encouraging. Like I said, I think a lot of the guys overall have done a really good job, but being consistent is huge, and that's, I think Abdur kind of epitomizes that. Like, the same dude every single day comes out here with the right mindset, comes out here with the right attitude, and really tries to get better. And because of that, he's been very productive.
Talked last week about Elijah Cannon, just you being surprised of his athleticism, his shiftiness. Just what element does he add to this offense?
I think he gives us a lot of a ton of diversity, kind of like a tight end, from a standpoint of he's so big, but athletic, like we talked about last week, and so kind of like Drake London for us at USC, who also was really big, really long, but can move like a little person. When you have that skill set, you can play inside, you can play outside, you can create matchups for them, you can move them around and let them play different spots. And because, like I said, you have a fluid skill set with a big body, you're able to create problems for defenses. And so I think that with his skill set, with his abilities, like I said, he makes us really versatile. We can move him around. He can play any of the positions. Part of that's because he's really smart. He picks things up very quickly. So he's learned the offense, and I couldn't be happier with what he's given us. And I think that he grows every day, and we challenge him. To just kind of like we talked about earlier with Abdur, like his challenge is like, hey, you got to show up, be tough, and be the same guy every day. And if you do that with your skill set, you got a chance to be really special. And he's kind of embracing that and doing a good job for us. So he's played every receiver position, both inside, both outside, on both sides of the football, and done it well. And so he could be a fun guy that could make us really, really versatile. Kind of like I said, kind of like how we use Drake at SC.
Hey, Graham, competition. Can you kind of tell us how you daily, did you have any sort of a grading system with your quarterbacks there? Did you go back, watch film, sit down in the meeting room? Is there, again, any type of a tangible thing you do to grade these guys on a daily basis? Is there anything you do on the field or in the meeting room to really enhance competition and sort of keep score?
I think competition makes everyone better, and I think I've talked about that before. And like the more talent you can bring in here, and the more guys you can compete, and I think that just makes everyone else raise the level of play. But from a grading standpoint, really, it's basically like, did you make the right decision, and then did you physically execute it? You know what I'm saying? And so I think in what we do, probably one of the most important things for a quarterback is consistently make the right decision. If you can do that, you give us a chance. And if you that's what I talk about my quarterbacks. If you don't make the right decision, like, you're not even giving us a chance. You know what I mean? The entire offense. And then after that, after like decision, now, like, did you physically execute the assignment? You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, you made the right decision, you threw the right place. How did you physically make the throw? Or, you know what I mean? Or, in the run game, you made the right read. Did you execute whatever? Like, if you pulled it, did you go get yards? in the past game, in the run game, if it's an RPO type, like, okay, you made the right decision. Now, did you execute the throw or whatever the case may be? So that's kind of, like I said, our evaluation of quarterbacks, that's what it comes down to, like decision and then physical execution of the assignment.
Talked about them getting the installation part of it down. What do you need to get out of these last 5 practices to kind of go into the off season before fall to feel good about everything?
I think with these last practices, one thing we can do is kind of put some things in, or formationally and stuff that's not like just base stuff. So just to introduce that to them, and so whether it be like unbalanced terms or empty terms and stuff like that, so that like if you go into a fall, like it's not the first time they're hearing it. So, installing stuff like that, and then continue to learn from situational stuff, and like I said earlier, Walt's done a great job of that. Like today we did 2 minute. Lots of great things that came out of it, and understanding the situation and at the end of the game, like how critical that is. I think you see it in the NFL probably more than in college even, but like almost every game in the NFL feels like comes down to a 2 minute situation, and in college it's just as important. Understand is it right before half or is it right at the end of a game, and what we need and what that means for us, and so like I said, I think moving forward these last few practices continue to like get better and better at what we're doing. Keep harping on, like I said, the fundamentals and what we did in the base installation. Introduce some things that aren't just base to them, and then understand down and distance, understand the situation, and understand what we're trying to get accomplished, and do it at a high level.
Who are some of the guys that have grown most this spring?
Grown the most? I think the O-line as a whole, but just because we've moved people all around, I think that unit as a whole has grown quite a bit. And again, I think I touched on this last week. It's almost like those 5 are one. You know what I mean? And so you can have 4 of them doing a lot of good things, and if one's way off, then it doesn't really matter, right? And so I think as a whole, those 5 have grown a ton. I think Elijah has grown a ton. He's a guy that has kind of been banged up since he's been here, and this is probably his first true healthy few months as a Purdue Boilermaker, and because of that, I think his growth has been huge. And then I think Tracy is another guy that comes to mind when you ask that, just because we've kind of moved him around or put him at running back quite a bit, and really tried to develop him in that spot. And although he hasn't played there full time, especially in the past, that's a spot where I think he has a ton of potential, but there was a ton of growth potential as well. And getting a lot of reps at it this spring, I think that you've really seen him develop at that position in particular, and give us and give himself a chance to really be a weapon next season.